Welcome to our showcase of CompSci 310's project for our group. So first, let's start off the backend. This is just the backend server. And then you can see it's all initialized. And now let's start up the front end server, built on React. And then it should pop open another page. Okay, Dany, go ahead.
This is a fully functional web interface. We're implementing one of the two specification, which is section insight. We can do a lot of things here. Ben will take you go through all of the features that we have. Go ahead,
Sure.
Ben.
So let's start with adding zip files. Currently, let's check for currently added datasets. Okay, so from a previous session, we already have a dataset added. Let's first inspect the element to get the network tab open to see the request going through. Network and fetch. Okay. So first, let's just delete this dataset so we have a clean slate to work with. First, we can see over here we have a delete request that was okay, and this is just the display request. And then now let's start by adding a dataset that is fully functional. Let's start with hello, and let's choose a file. Let's go with pair.zip, which we know is functional. Upload this dataset, and we can see there is currently a request. It is currently loading. And now we see the put request was successful with status code 208 OK. Now let's showcase some invalid datasets to add. For example, maybe one with an underscore, a low underscore. You can see invalid ID, no space or underscores allowed, and you can't click anything to add this dataset. Let's show an empty. Again, it can't be empty. Let's show a case of duplicate. So if you try to upload this, it'll show that the ID already exists. And then now let's try a valid one. Let's call it hello2. But the zip file is invalid. So we can try maybe adding campus, which is a rooms dataset, and not a campus, not a dataset pertaining to sections. So if we were to try this, we can see that there's an error and it failed to add the dataset, and so it wasn't added to our list. Now let's try to add another functional dataset. For example, this is a list of only CompSci courses. Uploading this, we can see it works. And meanwhile, on the side, we can see for the valid requests, we get a bad request. And for the valid requests, we get OK. For put requests and get requests for showing off the datasets. Now, moving on to the queries, we can first show that we can select the dataset to work with. Let's just go with pair.zip for the entirety of this showcase. And let's first look at these stories. Starting from bottom, view section averages by course and professor. So we can first go and add some filters to select for this. So we can try textual filter with course, and we can try to search for 110. I'm going to wrap it in this just to make sure that it works, but it should work regardless. Let's select the subject, which is CompSci. Let's say we want to search for CompSci 110 averages by professor, and who's a well-known CompSci 110 professor. We can select by this CompSci professor, very well known. And then now we can go to display options so that we can display the data that we queried from these filters. So firstly, we can go to, we might consider average and year to be important to display, and we might also consider course, subject, and professor. And then let's also sort it by the year. So clicking generate insights, we get a list of all the data that we queried, and also a graph. In this case, we can remove year because we're not interested in that. And since it's sorted by year, we can see the trend over the course of the years. It seems to be fluctuating, not really going like up or down that much. Again, we can filter out the year. We can also see that there are 2 years here that seem to be outliers. And then now moving on to the next query, or the next user story. we want to be able to add a custom data set for querying. Now this is already covered by up here. We can add a data set, and we also tested for invalid options. So moving on to the next user story, which is data set insight, visualize averages of all sections taught by a specified instructor. So going back over here, let's just refresh the data set, and then let's add the filters for this query. So we want to filter by firstly a textual input. We want to find the professor, of course, and suppose we want to search by professor here, and then I believe that's the only thing we'll need here, because it is the only thing we need to filter by is the specified instructor over here, and now we want to visualize the averages of all sections taught by them. So we can go to display options, where we can search for all the useful information that we may consider. So maybe that's average, year, course, professor, and subject. And we can generate the insights again. So we can see that there are 3 courses taught by
Oh,
this
there it
professor.
is.
And sorry, here. We can switch to the chart here again. Pretty high averages, that's pretty good. And then we can move on to the next user story. And that is filtering the sections by course level in the term. We can do that for you right here. Again, I'm just going to do this to clear out the filters quickly. But you can also click the delete button. There was a button over there. So firstly, let's set the filters to be numerical, and we care about the year. Oh, and in this case, term just represents year, or year represents term, because inside the pair.zip data set, there isn't really specific term like winter 2022 or that sort of thing. It's just filtered by year. So let's say we want the year equal to 2015, and we're also interested in only third-year courses, for example. So we can do that by doing course and doing star being the wildcard, so we get everything where it's 3 something something, like 3xx. And then to display this data, we can select the information you're interested in, so average, year, course, and subject, and then we can generate the insights. Now we can see all the possible like third-year courses that could have been taken in 2015, regardless of subject. And you also see the average of these courses. So if you're ever interested, you can maybe Control F and search for a course in that time period, or you can filter it down even more. Moving on to another query, or rather, in this case, the next user story we have on the list is to rename the datasets with validation. Now this can be done by removing and re-adding a dataset. For example, let's say we want to rename this hello dataset, which is our pair dataset. We can first delete this, and we can see over here that there is a delete request that went through. Then let's say we want to rename hello to goodbye. We can just reselect the dataset file, pair.zip. We can upload it, and since it's a very large dataset, it will take a little bit. And now it pops over here, and effectively it has been renamed. And our final user story is to visualize the pass and fail rates per course. So let's just quickly go through and get this query going. So we can filter it by textual input with a course called 310, and also the subject. Otherwise, we can have all course codes 310. So let's see, we only care about CompSci 310 here, and then we want to see the pass and fail rates of CompSci 310 over the years. So pass, fail, course, subject. If we're interested in year, we can add that as well, but maybe we're only interested in pass and fail rates. So now all the information is here. You can see it in the chart here. In the bar chart, we also changed it to a line chart, and it'll be easier to see the difference between pass and fail rates. And you can see, fortunately, the pass rate is always a lot higher than the fail rate of CompSci 310. And note that aside from all these user stories we have over here, our website has support for a wide variety of other use cases and queries, thanks to the custom query handler that was built.
Yep.
And, yeah, I think this concludes our demonstration of our project. Do you have anything else to add, Dany?
I guess. For me, that's pretty good.
Sounds good to me. Okay, thank you for listening.